So, influencers in Norway will be jailed if they post edited photos without adding a disclaimer that the photo was modified. And now that I'm actually reading this and I'm actually thinking about it very, very well, I honestly feel as though Norway can now classify as quite possibly the best country in the world for men. And honestly, it's not even just about the whole influencer thing. Like, there's a bunch of reasons around it, but this kind of just takes the cake. This is like the icing on the cake. And I honestly want to give you all the reasons why I think that. But before I do that, there is something that we haven't done, which we should probably do.
Get ready for the battle of the sexes.
Alright, great. I needed us to do that first so that I can get into things, because usually when you like go and start breaking stuff down and there's no like special soundtrack to intro shit, like, I don't know, it kind of leaves people wondering what the hell they're listening to. But anyways, that aside, like, part of the reasons why I actually like Norway is because, one, they actually have pretty good laws. Like, it is considered to be one of the happiest countries in the world. So ideally for you as a guy, all you need to do is just go there and tell women that you're sad. Like, I'm sure they'll either appeal to the government, and once the government is appealed to by a bunch of people, they'll find ways to make you happy. And considering that most of these places don't have that big of troubling issues, they'll probably just hire out hoes for you. Like, they'll probably put in a bill where it's like, if foreigners come in and they're unhappy, you can probably get free head when you leave the airport or some shit. Because, like, I like Scandinavian countries because they actually tend to have such interesting laws. Then, you think about it. Like, the whole influencers having to mention that the photo was modified whenever they throw in filters or they edit is actually a really good thing. Like, I usually look at filters, I usually look at editing in Photoshop as a way of false advertising. Yes, I know, advertisers do that same exact shit time and time again. But in a sense, if a babe is wearing makeup, in a sense, it should be considered false advertising. Kind of the same way babes usually talk about how, guys like to talk about how they have, good sex game, or they're well hung and they have this big dick. And then, when he drops his trousers down, it's like, we're expecting the maximized version of this. And, the guy's just telling you that that's all there is. And, what's there is like a little bit of, something. And the thing is, it feels like false advertising to them. Kind of like the same way for us, it feels like false advertising when you're going to hit a babe. She looks amazing on the gram. You meet her in person and she has this makeup and she looks really good. And then you go and you hit it and say you accidentally nut, but you're like, I'll probably have beautiful kids. And then you end up having kids with no eyebrows. Like, it feels like false advertising at the very least when it comes to things like filters and, putting on a ton of makeup. So, in a sense, I do actually side with them. And the best part about all of this is, it's not like they even had to do this. Scandinavian countries have very beautiful women. Like, a lot of these Scandinavian countries, Norway, Sweden, Netherlands, like, they're considered to have some of the most beautiful women on the planet. And those are ratings that are done on a yearly basis. So, they don't even need this. And yet, they're the ones that are putting up the laws. Like, imagine if they took it to the States where people have fake tits and fake asses. Like, that shit will end up getting shot down by women's rights groups, and they'll just come out and start saying, oh, you can't silence a freedom of expression, blah, 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 and shit. Although then again, that could also be wrong, because I don't know that much about the US law or laws, really. What I do know is that I have this really interesting podcast, which I should probably start. So, as I would probably like to begin, welcome to Break Time on West Side, your number one break time podcast, coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. The man on the mic is a man who should be sued for false advertising whenever he tells you he is in good health because he has a sickness for the thickness. He is a man who once thought that bukkake was a Japanese form of martial arts. It is none other than your tall, dark, and mildly handsome man, Sir Denver B. The show is Battle of the Sexes, our weekly love, sex, and relationships show where I get to say things people disagree. Something usually comes at the end of it, and for some reason, some of y'all always come back to listen to more and more episodes. And honestly, I don't even know why, but I always appreciate every single one of you that comes back to listen. And if you only listen to Battle of the Sexes, there's Tweet Street that also comes on Friday, which you should probably listen to. Also pretty interesting, involves me going into Twitter and picking up a bunch of tweets in there. And if you do love it so much that you would like to tell me something, then on Instagram it is at Breaktime on Westside. On Facebook it is also at Breaktime on Westside. And on Twitter you can slide into my personal DMs, which is at Bagaka the D. And you can hit me up on all three of those platforms. I usually leave all of them open, none of them is closed. And you're always free to send a nice tweet my way, tell me that you love me, and request a booty call that I'll probably reject. But all in all, it's all love, and we will be celebrating 200 episodes this week, as well as our 2-year anniversary as a podcast. So if anything, I am in awe of all that we've managed to achieve, for you the listeners, for me as a content creator, for the editing software that works and everything. Like, I'm genuinely appreciative of all of that. But anyways, that aside, I am actually eating into time and I should probably move things on. But before I get into the main topic, we need to talk about Mr. Nick Cannon, aka the Womb Raider, because people like giving nicknames. And honestly, I feel as though Womb Raider is probably the best one, especially when you consider the fact that this man has probably been the biggest show that 2021 can be somebody's year of prosperity. Because this man has produced 4 children in the course of 6 months. Like, how the hell do you do that? Like, I already spoke about it before, like, him and Future kind of competing for producing kids and everything. But now, back to the Womb Raider. So the Womb Raider, after being, spoken about how he's producing kids left, right and center, came out to state, and I quote, "I'm having these kids on purpose. Trust me, there's a lot of people that I could have gotten pregnant that I didn't. The ones that got pregnant are the ones that were supposed to get pregnant." End quote. I'm one person that is all for, making sure you take full responsibility and, accept whatever it is that's happened. But I feel like this guy just went next level. Because at this rate, this guy is probably like, what, all the ones that had abortions, they probably were supposed to have abortions. Because like, this is one of those Zen things that people usually like to say. It's like saying whatever happened for a reason, or whatever happened is all part of a bigger plan of something. And frankly, I don't know who it is that would ever sit down and be like, I want to produce as many kids as possible. Not unless if you're talking about semen, but you never really hear a guy saying, I want to get as many babes pregnant as possible. Like, if he said this, then whatever plans he has, I'm very curious about them. Because not unless if he's starting a reality TV show with all of his baby mamas, like, it just doesn't work out in his favor, because he ends up dishing out more money for the upkeep of those kids. Yes, he's a businessman, he makes a ton of money, Wild 'N Out's a big show and shit. But either way, it's not what you'd call the best. Then when you look at his statement of, trust me, there's a lot of people that I could have gotten pregnant that I didn't, like, bruh, even me, there's a lot of babes that I could have gotten pregnant but I didn't, because I don't know, I decided to pull out. There's a lot of babes that would have had my baby, but guess what, I decided not to hit. Like, that's such a, I don't know, like, that's a PR statement that just sounds garbage. Like, saying that the ones that got pregnant are the ones that were supposed to get pregnant is like saying, what, all the other ones didn't have ovaries. Or, I don't know, like, all the other babes that didn't get pregnant from you, like, they probably weren't supposed to get pregnant because they were being sponsored by the company that makes the pill. I don't know, like, it seems a bit weird when a guy's coming out to say that, I planned for this. Because if anything, you'd rather say, I've been planning to take care of the kids, but I plan to have 4 kids in 6 months? Like, bruh, I don't even think people plan to have twins, and 2 of those kids are actually twins. So if anything, this just sounds like the mumbo jumbo of somebody who feels like he's on such a Zen level that, he can probably plan for shit like this. Because if anything, like, imagine trying to take care of not just 1 baby mama, but 2. Like, that's a lot in and of itself. Right now, I think he has about 4. And with a grand total of about 7 kids, that in itself is a lot of taking care of to do. Because even when you're thinking about it, Like, yes, these babes might be independent, but you know how many of them are gonna come up and they're gonna start complaining that, oh, you bought so and so's kid this and you didn't get our child that. Isn't he or isn't she also your kid? Like, usually there's that shit that comes in, and like there's that baby mama drama, and it can come from one babe even when you have like a wife and shit. But now, considering that this guy not only has like 4 baby mamas, but one of them is Mariah Carey, like this guy probably just wants noise in his life if he's been planning for this shit. But that being said, I do wish him all the best. I don't know what his plan is. I hope it's a good one. But all those kids, all those baby mamas, it's either this guy wants drama or he wants to start a reality show. Which, if that is the case, then he's doing the most. But anyways, that being said, we should probably move it on to our main topic of today. And speaking of multiple women, last week I was having a conversation with a pal of mine called Lorna. Mad shout out to you, Lorna. And while we're busy talking in the DMs, she just so happened to send me this very interesting post, which I promised I would definitely discuss on this show. And the post was a quote which said, "Having hoes is not a flex. Having a girl nobody can touch is." And when Shorty sent me this quote, she was like, most of y'all niggas should probably get this through your heads. It should be something that we should definitely take and internalize and actually understand. And to be completely honest, I kind of agreed with her. Sorry fellas, I kind of had to. But while I did agree with her, I did make sure I added the bit where I was like, yes, but it depends. And the thing is, the it depends part is what seemed a little bit confusing a little bit. And this is part of the reason why I figured it's something that I should probably discuss, because people have this belief that, guys just want to get babes and hoe around. And there's a lot of guys that feel as though they should be getting babes and be hoeing around for them to, flex that they're this, macho man and shit. And frankly, I believe both sides could be right and I believe both sides could be wrong. So it's a matter of understanding one or the other. Because here's the thing. When you look at the statement of having a girl that nobody can touch being a flex, it kind of does make sense. It's part of the reason why even back in the day, getting the hottest girl in school was just one of those things that you'd want to do as a guy. Like, you are a young boy, blood was all hot and everything. You could have been going around these streets, but getting the hottest girl in school was probably one of the things that you'd have probably been looking forward to. If you're in a single sex school and you aren't playing against the home team, then I'm sorry, you might have to float on this one. But that being said, when you were younger as a guy, you wanted to go for the hottest girls. And more specifically, you'd want the hottest girl that you could get in whichever environment you're in, whether it's school, whether it's church, whether it's around your place where you stay, stuff like that. And it's not like that shit just goes out the wind when you grow up and become an adult. So for the people that think that all men just want to get hoes and bang all these women, I'm sorry, you're wrong about that. Not all of us want to. There's actually quite a number of guys that don't. And frankly, I think those are probably some of the most mature people that I've met. I'm not saying that hoeing around is immature, I'm just saying that a lot of those guys do tend to mature very quickly. But that being said, you kind of have to consider that whenever you see a statement like this, the having hoes isn't a flex, having a girl nobody can touch is, you have to think about the audience that it's reaching out to. Like, I've said this time and time again, whenever you look at these relationship quotes on IG, this shit is just meant to seem good to women. Like, if you are going to actively try and follow whatever advice is there, just follow it knowing very well that it's made to not just appeal to women, but to sound good to women as well. Like, you rarely ever see one that is not seeming good to women, but is very for the guys. Like, it's not very common to see that. And when you think about it, this would make sense to women because a lot of babes are actually into the whole idea of couple goals. Like, a lot of them will still come back and say, oh, I'm not into couple goals, blah, blah, blah. But they are kind of into the idea of couple goals. Or if it's not couple goals per se, they want to be a power couple of sorts. And it's something that seems great to them. They want to be Jay and Bay. They want to be Jada and Will, before the entanglements and everything. They want to be Kanye and Kim K. Although, now that I think about it, every single one of the examples that I've just given right now has people who've either cheated, divorced, or are, ending things. But that being said, the idea of the power couple has always been something that's been close to a lot of women's hearts. And the unfortunate side of it is, when you're saying that guys should be told that having hoes isn't a flex, having a girl nobody can touch it doesn't exactly account for how guys feel, because guys don't really give a shit about couple goals. Like, fine, yes, I want to be with one of the most beautiful women on the planet. Like, I want to be with these fine ass babes each and every day. Although personally for me, I prefer them a little bit thick. But the thing is, it's not like I look at them and I'm like, oh, we'd make an amazing couple. Nah, like us guys look at a babe and we're like, you know what, I'd want to date this and this babe for ABCD reasons. I don't think about the us, I think about the me dating her. The me and her being together and how that would make me feel. Like, it sounds selfish, but it's the truth. And when you think about it, having hoes can be a flex, and also having a girl that nobody can touch is. Because when you think about it, having hoes has always been considered a flex when it comes to guys. Because when you think about it, the guy that is wanted by all of these babes is the guy that every guy wants to be. Like, I'm not saying that every guy wants to be Future, but the point is, we want to be desired by all of these women. Because we usually go and we tend to shoot our shot, and a lot of times a lot of us get to fail. So we would want to be desired such that we don't have to go through those hassles. And when you see a guy is actually getting all of these babes with very little hassle, then at the end of the day, it is a flex, because you're getting what it is that I want. But you think about it, and the idea of getting the babe that nobody can touch being a flex, and it's true. You're with the hottest babe that every single guy wants to be with. It's something that guys will desire as well. And that in itself does qualify it to actually be a flex. But when you consider the fact that both are flexes, you always have to ask yourself, which one would you rather? Because I think that's usually the one thing that a lot of guys really tend to go through whenever they're either single or in a relationship. Should I be with this babe that's really beautiful? Or should I continue going for these really fine babes that I can probably hit? Because I don't know why, for some reason, just when you're at the brink of getting into a relationship, it's like that's when a lot of these babes start to hit you up. When you check into the relationship, the number increases. So which one should you go for? Should you go for the relationship, or should you continue, being single and, hoeing around here and there? And frankly, you can do either, because there's pros and cons to both. Because when you look at the pros of, being a one woman kind of guy, being with the finest babe that nobody can touch, the plus side of it is you're with a babe that nobody can touch. So in a sense, you have bragging rights, because you have managed to conquer the close to inconquerable, in a sense. And, that's a good thing. But it's kind of the same way if you're the guy that can have all of these babes that are following you, that, are ready to hop on your dick every once in a while. That's a flex, because you can pretty much pick up all of these girls, and all of, a bunch of guys probably want them. But then you look at the cons of it all. When you look at the cons of being the hoe, of flexing by having a lot of babes around you, there's the downside of it on the long term, where it's like most of these babes will see you as a player. Most of these babes will know that, you could be good at sex, you could be good at getting babes, but you're probably not the best long-term option. And the problem is, it's not like everyone knows when you're going short-term or long-term. So you might choose to settle down, but all of these babes just either want to smash or aren't ready to go long-term with you. But on the flip side now, you can have the finest babe that nobody can touch, but it doesn't mean that it'll be a great relationship. I've said time and time again, there's no correlation between somebody's attractiveness and the quality of the relationship. There's no way that they correlate. You can have the finest babe and she can be the shittiest girlfriend. And you can have the finest dude and he can be one of the most toxic human beings. But even though we were to assume all of that, you can't really say that you have the finest girl that nobody can touch for good. Because the thing with beauty is that it's almost like the entertainment industry. It's like the online entertainment industry, to be more precise. There's always some new person that's coming in that's looking really good today, and there's gonna be another one tomorrow. Like, the beauty standards are also gonna be shifting. So we might have slender girls, we might have petite girls today, we might have slim thick babes tomorrow, and we can have BBWs 2 years from now. And at the end of the day, because there's beauty trends that will move with time, it also means that the crowd will move with time. And you can have the babe that nobody gets to touch back in the day, but give it 5 years and she might end up being the babe that nobody wants to touch because nobody finds her that attractive. So in a sense, it kind of does get to suck. But the one positive that I forgot to mention was that if you're somebody that ends up in a nice long-term relationship, it could also mean that you have better chances of being a long-term mate, because babes know this guy is loyal and he treats his babe in such and such a way, because babes always talk, and that would make him a great choose for me or for my friend, and blah blah blah. So either way, one is good for short term, one is good for long term. Although on a personal level, when I kind of think about it, if it's in my personal situation, I prefer to go for both, because when I'm single, I'd rather go for as many babes as I want, go and enjoy myself. I can flex on the fact that, I've got hoes in different area codes. But when I get into a relationship, when I choose to get into a relationship, then I can go in and I can be there 100% and stay as faithful as I can. And, try and be the best boyfriend that I can be. Although, now, to kind of conclude everything, let me just say this. While there's a guy that will flex for having a lot of hoes, and there's a guy that will flex for getting the girl that nobody can touch, I will tell you this. There's one guy that's probably the happiest out of all of them. And he doesn't flex because he has a lot of hoes or flex for having the girl that nobody can touch. He's the guy that will go ahead, just get himself a babe and settle down and pretty much enjoy life, not because he has the hottest girl, probably won't even have the hottest girl, but he is so happy that he has this babe that he's wanted, he is with this babe that he desires, and it's just about them being happy. They don't give a shit about who's flexing with what. They're just happy in their own little bubble. Although then again, I could be wrong, so I want to know your thoughts on this. So the DMs are open. On IG, it is at Breaktime on my side. On Facebook, it is also at Breaktime on my side. And on Twitter, you can slide into my personal DMs, which is at Bagaka the D. Thank you so much for listening all the way till the end. And if you are listening through Castbox, feel free to drop your thoughts and comments below, and I will attend to them accordingly. And I will catch you guys on the next break.